taxation is theft. A nice, relaxing, totally apolitical, everyone can agree type sentiment. The reason I am desirous of speaking about taxation was all of the farmers' protests in the UK. I was looking for a bunch of articles on them. I was trying to find left-wing takes on them, looking at CNN, looking at, what was it, New Republic, Jacobin, Jezebel, I think Young Turks, and Young Turk doesn't have articles, so they might have done something on their podcast, but I couldn't find any articles. I had to go to the BBC, and I found two recent articles on it. And it just intrigued me because the idea of inheritance tax just seems so obviously theft-like. Why, when you die, a huge portion, up to 40% in the UK, or 20% for farmers, and in the US it's, like up to half. The government just gets it. Not only does it just get it, it takes it. You have no recourse. You have to pay it, or you get to go to jail. You have to fight a lengthy court battle, and you still will probably have to pay. Why? When you die, the government owns you. The government owns everything that you make. They're just lending it out to you. You can hold on to it until you die, and then it reverts back to us. This is one of those things where I don't know if I understand a moral, principled argument for it. I can understand a rational argument for why taxation is necessary to provide for a society. And you don't necessarily get to opt in because you are enjoying the benefits of everyone else's opting in. They all paid into it, and therefore you're benefiting from it, so you have to pay into it as well. Okay, I can understand that to a degree. But is that entirely fair? Like the fairest way to do something like that would be, okay, everyone pays for public services that everyone uses, whether directly or indirectly, and everyone pays equally. Everyone pays a flat tax because everyone benefits from those things, directly and indirectly. If you don't have a car, things are still delivered to you via roads. Roads are still needed for your functioning as a citizen in the country. So even if you are not going outside ever, you still need roads to exist. So, makes sense, right? I don't know of any place that has a flat tax. Maybe, I don't know, maybe something like Liechtenstein or something. A very small, libertarian Palestine. It's like, I don't know, there's a couple little tiny European countries that have libertarian policies, but I don't even think those places have flat taxes. Everywhere has a progressive tax policy, where in which the richer you are, the more you pay on, income tax and these types of things. The morality of this honestly escapes me. I don't know. I mean, certainly I would argue that the practicality of it is foolish. In the same way that, a wealth tax, unrealized capital gains tax, really is just penalizing people for doing better. And if they do better and you keep penalizing them, they'll probably leave, as has happened in many other countries that did this. The inheritance tax is just it just seems like the most egregious problem here. Like, I leave a house to my kids. I don't have a house, but if I were to have a house, they have to pay because I died. How does that make sense? How did the government create some value such that they are owed a big chunk of change after my death in the form of my kids paying for wealth that I accumulated? I don't get it. I really don't. Please let me know in the comments if there is, give me your arguments, give me your best. Steel man, I really do actually want to know, because other than purely utilitarian, it helps the government pay for services, which is not a good moral argument, if I'm totally honest, because those services don't seem to be well funded, and even when they are well funded, they don't seem to be doing their jobs well. Even if they were doing a good job, that still does not make it moral to say that I assume that the government owns me, all of my wealth, all of my production, all of my labor, all of my everything, and I only get to hold on to it when I'm alive. And then when I'm dead, they're going to take some of it back, whatever they were owed. Am I the only one who feels this way, that it's just a crazy, insane, kind of evil policy to tax people upon their death? Not even the people, because they're dead, obviously. Their kids, their beneficiaries, they have to pay. I really don't get it. Again, I'm trying to think of arguments as to why this would be acceptable. How you could be morally okay with this. And I suppose the only thing I can think of is, it goes back to that famous, infamous Obama line of, you didn't build that. The fact that you have a business and it's successful is like 10%, 50%, let's say it's 50% you putting in the hard work, the time, the money investment, all that type of stuff, and the other 50% is the government. The government made those roads that are in such fantastic, wonderful, pristine condition. The government made that post office system that you're using, which is, again, wonderful, fantastic, beautiful, perfect. perfect. The police, which no one has any problems with whatsoever, the education system, which is doing an incredible job at educating people, all of those things the government provided, and therefore, really, the government is as much, maybe more, maybe even more responsible for that business's success than you, the business owner, is. I'm saying this in a facetious manner, but I suppose one, that's the only argument I can think of. And if you really believe that, well then, I mean, what is there an argument for just, not giving it 100%? Is there a reason why you wouldn't want the inheritance tax to be 100%? All of the wealth created by that other person, you know what? They created, that's great. They lived. Now they're dead. It returns back to the collective. All of their assets, everything, it is returned back to the government in form of taxes. It's gone. The government owns it. Is there an argument against that? Because if you truly believe that the government is responsible for all of this wealth creation, shouldn't it get all of the money? Shouldn't it get everything? I think we all naturally recoil at an idea like that because it seems horrible, it seems egregious, it just feels wrong. I would argue it's not the degree that makes that argument, that makes that policy idea feel wrong. It's just that the degree amplifies the underpinning. The underpinning injustice of being taxed for dying. In which case, the government setting it at, 20%, 40%, 50% is basically just as much as it thinks it can get away with. What level of theft can it perpetrate without getting penalized for doing it? And it seems, at least in the UK, the farmers are saying, nah, 20% is too much. Again, I think anything over 0% is wrong. I mean, aren't we already paying taxes? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm assuming farmers pay tax on all kinds of stuff. I'm assuming. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Does the UK not have an income tax? Do they not have general property tax? How about taxes on goods? Do they have import taxes? What about taxes and tolls on, road use? It seems like a death tax is just another way to try to, pump a little bit more money into the government. And I get that you might think that there are absolutely wonderful, beautiful, fantastic government programs that the UK has that need to be paid for. Okay, that's fine. I would also have to argue, though, that Just because you think that they are great and they should be paid for doesn't mean that they can be. I mean, I approve of and would like a policy where every human being on the face of the earth gets everything that they need in terms of material, emotional, spiritual, mental needs and wants met. Unfortunately, that policy is physically impossible. Like, fiscally, there's not enough money floating around to do such a thing. We're aware of that. And therefore, we have to pick and choose our battles. Personally, I think this is a battle we shouldn't be fighting. Death tax. If that is what you need to pay for your stuff, maybe you've got too much stuff you're trying to pay for. Let me know what you think. Good luck in all your endeavors. Thank you for your time and attention. And I shall say farewell for now.